Nobody announces it. One day they just show up with something different. You ask what happened to the Glock. They shrug, give you some vague answer about wanting to try something new. That is not the real answer. The real answer is one of these 7 guns, and once you hear the actual reasons, the switch starts making a lot more sense than most Glock owners want to admit. Some of these you know. One costs $429 and is quietly outperforming guns with $1,000 of work already done to them. And the number 1 on this list is not what most people expect going in. Let's get into it. Number 7. Walther PDP. You have been shooting your Glock for years. You know that gun better than most people know their own hands. Then someone at the range passes you a PDP. One pull and something shifts. You hand it back, pick up your Glock, and for the first time in years, something feels slightly off. That moment right there is the entire PDP argument. Most Glock owners spend $200, sometimes $300, chasing that trigger feel through aftermarket parts and gunsmith bills. The PDP ships there from the factory, done. No extra cost, no waiting. Under real stress, the gap becomes even more relevant. Heart rate up, hands wet. Grip changing in ways you cannot fully control. A trigger that behaves inconsistently in those conditions is a serious problem. The PDP is widely reported to behave identically no matter what is happening around it. That consistency is not a small thing, it is the whole thing. Western European law enforcement agencies reported measurable qualification improvements after switching to it. Not a press release, actual field data. One legitimate issue: the grip runs wide. Shooters with smaller hands sometimes struggle with the full size. The compact addresses it but costs you rounds. Handle one in person before committing. Specs: 9mm, 15 to 18 rounds, $649 to $749. The verdict: strong gun, earns its spot at 7. But number 6 does not just improve a trigger. It rethinks something the entire industry decided was just an inconvenient reality. Number 6. Springfield Armory ECHELON. Ask a professional carrier about running 2 separate guns and watch the expression change. Duty gun, off-duty gun, different sizes, 2 registrations, 2 separate training tracks pulling focus in different directions. Most people treat this as an unavoidable cost of carrying professionally. They budget for it, they adapt to it, they never question it. Springfield questioned it. The ECHELON is built around one serialized steel chassis. Legally, that chassis is the gun. Everything else, the grip module, the frame size, the entire profile, assembles around it. Change the module and you have a functionally different platform. One registration, one unit. The logistical headache that most carriers silently lived with largely disappears. That is not a marketing angle, that is a genuine structural rethink. Trigger is widely considered a step above Glock at this price point. Optics ready from the factory, not as an optional upgrade. Standard capacity sits at 20 rounds, ahead of most comparable guns in this conversation. The honest gap is aftermarket depth, newer platform. Holster options and accessories still catching up to Glock and SIG. If you run a lot of third-party gear, factor that in before buying. Specs: 9mm, 20 rounds, $679. The verdict: for the right carrier, this one changes the math entirely. The aftermarket gap is real, but it closes more every month. Number 5 has one number attached to it that tends to stop reliability debates the moment it gets said out loud. Number 5. HECKLER and KOCH VP9. Just the number first. 50,000 rounds. Independent testing, not HK's own evaluation. Outside evaluation. 2 stoppages total. 2. Most service pistols never reach 10,000 rounds across their entire operational life. The VP9 went to 50,000 and essentially ran clean. That number changes the tone of every reliability conversation it enters. But here's what almost every VP9 review misses. Glock built one grip geometry for every shooter alive. It works for a wide range of hands, until it does not work for yours. And when it does not work, you compensate on every single draw without ever realizing you are doing it. The VP9 has adjustable back straps and side panels. This gets called a comfort feature in most reviews. That framing completely undersells it. Your hand shape determines your natural point of aim at extension. A gun that actually fits your specific hand eliminates a small invisible correction that was happening every single draw. Some NATO units flag this exact point when adopting the VP9. Qualification improvements were reported across groups with varied hand sizes. Paddle Mag release splits opinions sharply. Feels immediately natural to some shooters. Feels completely wrong to others. No middle ground seems to exist on this one. Run it at speed before spending the money. Specs: 9mm, 15 rounds, $849 to $999. The verdict: a reliability record most guns will never approach, and a grip system that actually fits your hand rather than an average of everyone's, both in one package. Hard to find at any price. Number 4 costs $429. And it is making that price tag look difficult to justify. Number 4. KANIK METE SFT Production Class Competition. A Turkish pistol nobody was seriously discussing starts showing up on the line, starts placing, against Glocks with hundreds of dollars of trigger work already done to them. Split times are math. They do not negotiate with brand loyalty. The mighty SFT was keeping pace. The reason is not complicated once you know the background. CANIK manufactures under NATO contract, military tolerances, military quality controls. The consumer METE SFT comes out of that exact same infrastructure at a different price point. The trigger performance was not a lucky accident. Now the math that makes the Glock aftermarket crowd go quiet. Base Glock, trigger kit, connector, springs, some gunsmith time. You can clear $1,000 without blinking and still be chasing a feel. The METE SFT starts near that feel from the factory for $429. That gap is real, and it is not getting easier to argue around. Legitimate limitations worth stating, plainly. North American aftermarket still developing. Long-term parts availability is a fair concern. Institutional support for professional carriers is not there yet. These matter depending on your use case. Specs: 9mm, 18 rounds, $429 to $499. The verdict: on trigger performance per dollar, it is genuinely hard to build a counter-argument. Know the limitations, then make an honest decision about whether they apply to your situation. Number 3 did not try to out-engineer Glock. They studied every documented complaint about it across 30 years and built one platform specifically to answer them. Number 3, CZP-10F. Pick it up. First instinct is that it feels familiar. Same basic manual of arms. Muscle memory does not revolt. There is no awkward adjustment period coming from Glock. Then you shoot it. The grip angle on a fast draw. The reset when your hands are damp. The texture when conditions shift from dry range to something less controlled. Glock-trained shooters notice the differences within the first magazine. Not dramatically, just quietly better in the specific places they had quietly accepted as limitations for years. That was the design intention, not to reinvent anything, to answer specific documented frustrations. 3 complaints followed Glock through 3 decades of professional use. Grip angle, trigger reset, wet hand performance. CZ built the P10F around all 3. You bring your existing training. The platform handles those 3 things differently. The procurement evidence carries real weight here. Multiple military and law enforcement agencies across Central and Eastern Europe formally replaced Glock fleets with P10 platforms. Public bidding processes, signed evaluation reports, documented accountability decisions. That is a fundamentally different category of evidence than any range review. Honest gaps. CZ's U.S. customer service reputation is mixed. Holster selection still trails Glock. Some accessories transfer from Glock setups, some do not. Specs: 9mm, 19 rounds, $499 to $559. The verdict: 30 years of documented frustration addressed without a retraining cost. The Eastern European procurement pattern alone puts this on the list. Number 2 has a story almost everyone in this space knows the beginning of. Very few people know the part that actually changes how you evaluate it. Number 2, SIG SAUER P320M17, U.S. Army handgun competition. Every serious manufacturer showed up. Brutal evaluation. Temperature extremes, sand, Mud, drop tests. Sustained round counts under conditions designed to find failures. Glock entered. SIG's P321 became the M17. Most people in this space know that part. Here's the part most coverage skips. Afghan mountain cold where metal contracts and lubricants thicken. Iraqi summer heat where everything expands and dust infiltrates every gap. Fine desert sand that finds mechanisms you did not know existed. Salt air. Sustained operational stress across 7 years of real deployment. The armorers writing maintenance reports after those rotations had zero financial stake in what those reports said, none. They just documented what happened. 7 years of that data, no commercial test produces it, no review channel replicates it, and the people generating it had no reason to soften the findings. That is a different category of evidence than anything else on this list. Modular architecture means the FCU is the only serialized component. 7 years of military adoption built one of the deepest aftermarket ecosystems of any pistol currently manufactured. One thing said directly, early civilian P320s had a documented drop safety issue. SIGI addressed it through a voluntary upgrade program. The M17 was not affected. The fix is widely considered complete. Know the history. Verify manufacture date on any used purchase. Specs: 9mm, 17 rounds, $679 to $799. The verdict: 7 years of real combat deployment data behind it. Deep aftermarket. Strong architecture. The early history worth knowing and worth keeping in proportion. Number 1 did not get to the top through one defining moment. It got there through hundreds of separate decisions made by hundreds of separate people who did not know each other and did not coordinate their answers. Number 1. Smith Wesson M&P 2.0. Picture hundreds of law enforcement agencies running completely independent procurement evaluations. Different cities, different states, different operational requirements, different budget constraints, different armorer opinions, different officer feedback pools, no coordination between them, each going through the entire process on their own, and the majority landing here. That is not a coincidence. That is the market reaching a verdict through a process that is about as close to objective as the firearms industry ever gets. The original M&P had a trigger problem, widely documented, openly discussed for years in professional circles. S&W built the 2.0 largely as a direct response. Most experienced shooters who have run both versions say the improvement is real. Whether it tops this list on trigger feel alone is debatable. That it improves substantially is not. The grip texture follows a pattern that comes up in almost every serious review. Too aggressive in a store, excessive on a comfortable dry range. Then someone runs it in actual rain with gloves on while their heart rate is elevated, and their hands are doing things that stress does to hands. Suddenly, that texture is exactly right. It was engineered for that specific scenario, not for showroom impressions. Steel chassis inside the polymer frame adds structural rigidity that full polymer builds typically cannot match at the same weight. And this company has operated continuously since 1852. The armorer infrastructure, the parts supply chain, the warranty network. None of that exists because of good marketing. It exists because of 170 years of staying relevant through everything the market threw at them. Specs: 9mm, .40, .45 available, 17 rounds in 9mm, $499 to $599. The verdict: hundreds of independent processes. Same answer. 170 years of institutional depth behind it. That combination does not need a hard sell. 7 guns. 7 genuinely different reasons each one earned a spot. The PDP delivers the trigger feel most Glock owners are paying someone else to get. The ECHELON rethinks a logistical problem the industry told carriers to just accept. The VP9 brings a reliability number most guns will never reach and a grip system that actually fits your hand. The METE SFT makes $1,000 of modifications feel hard to defend. The P10F answers 3 decades of documented frustration without a single day of lost muscle memory. The M17 carries 7 years of real deployment data that no controlled test can manufacture. The M&P 2.0 is what it looks like when the market reaches a conclusion, independently, repeatedly, and at scale. None of this is a case against Glock. That reputation was earned through real performance over real time. If it works for you, that is a legitimate answer. But the competition in 2026 is different. These 7 proved it. Now the real question, what are you actually carrying right now? And what made you choose it? Not the answer that sounds right, the honest one. Drop it in the comments. That conversation down there is usually better than the video. Next week, we are covering the 1-factor experience shooters evaluate before everything else. Before caliber, before capacity, before price. It is the thing that quietly separates good carry decisions from great ones. And almost no channel has covered it seriously. If you carry anything at all, that video is going to matter. Subscribe, you will want to catch that one.